can we open these coffees yet?
Sure.
Our producer, Jamie, got us these delicious shot-in-the-dark espresso blend caramel beverages.
And they are ice cold.
And they're ice cold.
And I like
and we're gonna, it says shake well, so we're going to shake them up. And then we're going to crack a couple cold ones. Oh, yeah. All right. So here we are, Matt.
Here we are.
Car news and coffee again.
Yep.
We got coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else we have?
Car news?
Car news. That's right.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Welcome to the Engine Noise Podcast, Car News and Coffee, brought to you by 1AAuto.com. Quality auto parts and thousands of how-to videos that walk you through your installs. Whew. I'm going to be all amped up in a minute. Hope you guys are ready.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get wild Jeremy.
I'm ready.
All right. Matt, we're breaking the format today because I'm so stoked.
Oh, yeah?
About a news story.
Oh, boy.
And it's about Wankels.
No.
Yep.
No way.
Back in the news again.
Awesome.
It's a big deal. We're going to talk about those, and then there's a recall on some hybrid vehicles that I feel like I should tell you about.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Toyota Prius.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of those, right?
Oh, yeah.
They've been making these things for quite a few years now. You can buy a used one dirt cheap with like 250,000 miles on them. So there's now a recall. They're recalling 830,000 Toyota Priuses.
Really?
Yeah. I'll give you a little article telling you about why exactly they're doing this. Toyota is facing a fresh setback after having to deal with a long line of faults relating to its hybrid cars over the past few years. Some Toyota Prius models, manufactured between 2008 and 2014, could be at risk of stalling when entering a fail-safe driving mode. The Japanese car maker is now recalling 1.25 million cars in Japan, 830,000 in North America, and 290,000 in Europe in order to fix this issue. The fail-safe mode, also known as limp mode, which I think we've all had that before. No? Somebody had to say it.
Oh, my God.
I'm talking about my car, Matt.
Not that kind of show, Jeremy.
All right, sorry. The fail-safe driving mode is engaged when the car computer detects a critical issue with the vehicle, which usually means receiving signal values way outside of the normal range for one or more of the built-in sensors. In this mode, the car's speed is limited to 30 to 45 miles per hour, which prevents further damage to the engine but allows the driver to vacate the road. So this is known as limp mode, Matt. Cars do this.
Yeah. I've heard of some diesel trucks doing this.
Yeah, if you don't put the magic fluid in it,
Yeah.
they go into limp mode, and then you can't go over like 50 miles an hour or something. So if you have a Toyota Prius within that date range of 2008 to 2014, keep an eye on your mailbox because you're probably going to get a letter from Toyota telling you that you need to get a switch replaced. You're going to want to do that, or your car might stall out. You don't want that, Matt.
Nope. Sorry, Prius owners.
Matt, are you ready for the next story?
Sure.
Because it's a good one.
Oh, yeah?
It has one of my favorite engines in it.
The LS?
The Wankel.
What?
Yeah, it's the Wankel story.
Oh, boy.
So, big news this week. The Mazda rotary engine will return. Turn.
This is amazing, Jeremy.
Yeah, exclamation points, big time. The rumor is now a fact. Mazda just announced that it will bring back the legendary rotary engine, though it is not the main power plant of the car. Instead, a version of the rotary will act as a range extender in one of two electric vehicles that the brand will debut in 2020. The Wankel engine hasn't been featured in a car since the Mazda RX-8, which I used to have, but there have been rays of hope for the rotary faithful. Specifically, rumors swirled earlier this year that Mazda would move to combine the rotary with an electric powertrain, bringing back this design into production cars. Mazda's New Step. You know what, Matt? I don't care about the article. Let's just talk about Wankels for a second. All right, so here's what they're doing. In 2020, according to this article at least, Mazda's coming out with a electric car that has a rotary engine stuffed in it somewhere that is basically used as a generator to just power up batteries.
Well, that's cool.
I don't know how, I guess this is their way of getting around emissions laws, I'm guessing, because rotaries are generally dirty engines that spew crap.
But if it's producing power...
The thing is, it's only going to be running a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And most of it's electricity that it's running on. So I think the emissions would be far less. And honestly, I'm not even sure if a rotary engine in a hybrid car is even tested for emissions. They probably plug it into the OBD2 port, but I'm not even really sure, I don't know how that works. That's something I need to research, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if all cars have the same emissions standards, right?
Yeah.
You have a super efficient car, and then you have an electric car with a Wankel in it. It's got to be less than the efficient car, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, it has to be.
It's not going to run all the time.
Right. So I wonder how they decide how much a rotary engine will be running in an electric car to measure the emissions from it. That's an interesting one.
I don't know.
You know what we should do? We should have somebody at Mazda call us or email us. Any Mazda people listening, or really anybody that can explain this to us, I would love to know. I want to talk to you. I want to have you on the show.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Because I want to know how this is measured. Not so I can beat the system, because I wouldn't do that, Matt.
No, never.
But because I am curious how the heck they decide whether or how much a engine in an electric car actually runs during a battery charge or something like that. I don't really know how that works. I wonder if it'll have a turbo. That'd be kind of cool.
So does this mean that you're going to be purchasing an electric vehicle in 2020?
My guess is no, because I'm assuming this thing is going to be like $35,000 or $40,000, and that's like 5 times what I normally spend on cars.
So you're going to wait till somebody crashes one and then...
Yeah, well, underwater. Like they need to drop it in a lake for like a month or two. And then when it comes out...
just for the engine.
Then I hit up the auction and I get it. Yeah.
I wonder if it's a smaller Wankel.
That's a great question. I wonder if it's a 1.3 liter, because 1.3 is like their standard Wankel size for quite some time. So I wonder if they're going to stick with a 1.3. They probably wouldn't, because 1.3 almost sounds a little big for this application.
Maybe they're building a brand new one. A
Smaller.
bitty Wankel.
A widow Wankel.
A widow Wankel.
Wow, that'd be something. I guess I'm going to need one of these little engines at some point, though, to put in like a go-kart.
Yeah, you got to play around with it.
I think a little,
Ride-on lawnmower or something.
So if there's any Mazda engineers out there, or really any car engineers or people that know this information, I would love to know how emissions are measured on a hybrid vehicle when the gas engine only runs part of the time to generate electricity and then power up the batteries to run the electric motor. If you have the knowledge, email us at help@enginenoisepodcast.com, because we want to hear from you.
You see that last line? Ease electric range anxiety. What does that even mean?
That's a real thing.
Ease electric range anxiety.
Yeah.
The car
It's
nervous
like a
about
real
going
no,
a
the
long
car
distance?
doesn't. The people do. People have range anxiety if they drive electric cars
Oh.
because they don't know, like, when you run out, if you run out middle of the Bronx, you're going to be,
What are you trying to say about the Bronx?
there's not a lot of electrical cords to plug into.
Okay.
So there's a thing called electric range anxiety. And apparently, if you own an electric car, it is common for people to get range anxiety where they don't know how far they can go before the electricity runs out. Then you're kind of stuck on the side of the road. So like if you need to drive from Massachusetts to, we'll say, Buffalo, New York, you're going to need to charge up a couple times.
Yeah.
You're just not going to make it. But the thing is, with a lot of these hybrids, they have the engine supplementing the electricity. So the little tiny engine, in this case maybe a rotary, will charge up the batteries while you're driving, and you can pretty much go until your gas runs out.
Sweet.
On the other hand, there's things like Nissan Leafs, which are just straight up electricity. They don't have the additional gas engine.
Yep.
So once you run out in a Nissan Leaf, you're on the side of the road.
You better leaf the car right there and get to walking.
Man, Matt, every time. I never expect it. All right, if you recall, back in episode 1, which was quite a while ago, Matt, before we were super famous.
Many moons ago.
Yep. We talked about one of my favorite engines, the Wankel. And if you're just starting to listen to our podcast, go back to episode 1 and listen to that one, and then this one will make a little bit more sense.
That was one of my favorite episodes, Jeremy. Hearing you compare a Dorito to, well, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, good point. So that about wraps up this episode of Engine Noise Podcast, Car News and Coffee. I'm all amped up on caffeine. Are you, Matt?
I am now, yes.
Good. Engine Noise Podcast, Car News and Coffee is brought to you by oneauto.com. Quality auto parts and thousands of how-to videos that walk you through your installs. Be sure to tune in to Engine Noise Podcast on the 1st and 15th of every month. And until then, have a little car news with your coffee.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
This morning, so I'm very particular about my coffee.
Yep.
I have to have it the same temperature every time. I need the same amount of sugar, same amount of milk. And this morning my power was out for some reason.
Oh, boy. So you couldn't get it up to temperature?
No, I couldn't make a coffee.
At all?
Nope, not at all.
How do you typically make your coffee?
In a Keurig. But I have the little strainer basket thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fill that up, and then I put the mug in the microwave for 35 seconds. And then I take my travel mug, I put the exact amount of sugar that I need in there.
Right.
Pour that into there, melt the sugar, and then top off to a certain line that's in my
your travel
my
mug?
travel mug with
Okay.
milk. Seal it up, give it a little shake. Off we go. Perfect temperature every time.
Huh. So
It took me weeks to figure that out.
I bet.